Hello, 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 YouTube, hello, Facebook, and hello, LinkedIn. I forgot who's I forgot who's there. Hello, everyone. Thank you, thank you. It's noon time, and I haven't eaten yet, so brain thing. But anyway, hello, everyone. My name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the Business Plug, and today I am plugging you into one of my best business buddies, Lamar Allen of LaMarvelous Balloons. Hey, Lamar.
Hey, how you doing, Linda?
Doing well, doing well. So before we get to you, I just need to tell you two things. First thing, if you want to come on the Business Plugs Mixer, there's a link in this description where you're watching this video. Go ahead and subscribe and click the bells or whatever they have so you know the notifications when we come on. We're normally on Sundays at 7. However, this is a special edition because I have special guests during the week. And so this is one of those. I'm calling this series, Lamar, I'm calling it the $1,000,000 Idea Series. Because all my business owners that come on doing this series are on their way well up to $1,000,000 and more. So this is my opportunity to introduce you to my audience. The second thing I need to say is I am trying to fill a cohort, my next cohort of business owners who want to learn how to do business right. I'm teaching you how to create real businesses on Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. We stay on for 3 hours, and it's a 12-week course. But at the end of the 12-week course, you have actually built your own business plan. And it's a submittable business plan that you can have in order to get funding. So that course is that how to get in that course, enroll in that course is in the description as well. It is a $50 to hold your seat, right? $50 non-refundable deposit to hold your seat. But after that, the class up until May 1st is $250. So if you're interested, please go there. Now, all that housekeeping stuff out of the way. Hey, Lamar, tell us about LaMarvelous, honey.
Hey, how you doing? First of all, I'm trying to. Oh, there we go. Okay, because I'm trying to. I want them to see all of it. You know what I'm saying? Well, hello. First off, Linda, thank you for having me on your platform. Really appreciative to be here today. I'm Lamar Allen of LaMarvelous Balloons LLC here in Nashville, Tennessee. It's our mandate to fascinate. We are a Nashville-based balloon decorating company here. So from your small events, like your smaller baby showers and smaller luxury events, all the way to your large corporate events or large installations, we can certainly add fascination to any event. So I'm really, really happy to be on this platform today to talk a little bit about business, my business specifically, maybe get some insight to business owners and entrepreneurs, and have a little fun with y'all today. So I'm looking forward to it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And here's what fascinates me about LaMarvelous. Like I love you said mandated.
That's
Mandated.
it. Absolutely.
So this is not just a
It's
second
required.
thought. It is required. I love it, love it, love it. And it shows
Yeah.
in your work. Like I've seen some of your arrangements. And so they can go to lamarvelous.com, right?
Hmm.
Lamarvelousballoons.com
Right.
and actually see some of your work. Like you're not just your average balloon creative because a lot of people are creating balloons. Absolutely. Cynthia, go and say you are LaMarvelous, honey. I like
Ah! Hi, Cynthia. How you doing? Yes, it's I always try to figure out ways to add like a sense of unique ability, right, to what we do. Because, like you did say, right, there are tons of other artists, who do great work. But I try to find distinctive ways to make LaMarvelous LaMarvelous, right? Well, I think one, the company name is pretty unique itself.
absolutely,
you know,
absolutely, absolutely.
and for those who don't know, my name is Lamar, and it's coined with the word marvelous. To give a funny story, I had someone who called me a couple of days ago wanting to inquire about services, and she didn't know why it was named La Marvelous. And she's like, "Is this is this a black-owned company?" And I said, "Yeah, we're black-owned." And she's like, "Oh, I thought it was like Spanish or something." And I was like, "Why? What made you think that?" And she thought of the la, right? So like la, and then like marvelous or something like that. I was like, "No, ma'am, it's my name." Word marvelous. Um, but I think having something like that, a unique name, kind of adds a level of distinction um, to the brand and what we can bring to the table as far as helping clients celebrate. So Really, really happy
Absolutely.
about that.
And that distinction is there, right? Because it's not just a name. Like, yes, it's your name, but also the distinction of marvelous, because it's not just your average. And that's the
Hey,
thing that attracted me to you about your decorations, right? Like they were like over the top because you always have that extra. Okay, so I've been stalking you, right? Trolling you. And so I've been trolling you. So I went on your personal page and saw the Christmases. Like
oh yes, yes,
the
yes.
Christmas trees, yeah.
Yeah, so our Amazon is one of our partners and clients, and they typically do a lot surrounding like their peak season, and they kind of give us creative control over some things that we can do. So yeah, we always have a really really fun time with them during the holidays. General Mills is another one. They always love to do some really really fun Christmas decor, but I think that really expounds on how balloons are can be multifaceted. You could do them. You could use them for any event. I mean, whether it's corporate, where you want to add some fun, morality, and high spiritedness to the workplace, or if you want to, just jazz up, an event that you're maybe having at your home. You can really, really use that type of decor to really just add some celebratory elements anywhere for
Absolutely,
anything.
absolutely, and you do
Hmm.
it well. So let's go back and talk about the
Sure.
Lamar Allen story, right?
Yeah.
So who's
Yeah.
playing it?
So
It's a Lifetime movie. So who's playing that person?
well, they better call me because I'm still alive. So yeah, y'all call me. I'm here. Okay, I'm here. I can lose a few pounds and look like I'm younger. That's fine. Um, but no. So to kind of start a little bit back, to how LaMarvelous came about. So I always refer back to my childhood, and I'll just give a brief story about my grandma and how she
Yeah.
brought. I remember it distinctly. She brought this bag of balloons with some. No, it was a bag of candy. I'm sorry, and it was filled with like the old school church candy. It was like a lot of that in the bag, and she had some star metallic balloons tied to the bag, and I was probably like 2 or 3 years old, and I just remember looking at the bag, and I was super super like, what is that floating? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that? I didn't want none of the candy. I just wanted to see what it was that was floating, and I call that the spark. So that is what whenever I talk about the spark on our website, I always talk about that spark, that first time that I saw a balloon and how it made me feel, and how
Mm,
I'm spreading that spark in Nashville.
I love it.
So
I love it.
thank you. So we start there, right? And through my childhood, you can ask either of my parents, my mom, my dad. I've always had like this interesting, weird passion for balloons. I would make balloon columns in my room. I remember one year for Christmas, I broke like those candy canes that you can stick outside
Hmm.
for Christmas. I remember I used to take those. I would cut the hook off and still have like the pole part, and then I would like just build balloons onto it. And I think I made an arch or something in my room. And I was in like sixth or seventh grade, just playing around with stuff. Um, but yeah, I fast forward. I did work at a party store back home in Detroit, Michigan, called Party on Us, where I learned a little bit more about business and the retail side of it. So it was more of like a party city type of oriented job that I had while I was in high school. And then I got here, to Fisk, here in Nashville. Fisk is my alma mater. Shout out to all the Fiskites.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, I got there and kind of just realized like there was like a dry market for the use of balloon decor. And I had some experience already, and I thought, well, let me just introduce this to campus. So I went home for Christmas break. I brought back to school my pump, which one of them, I actually still have it, and I still use it today in operation. That was like 10 years ago, because I did all the balloon decor for my college open house for my
Oh
graduation
wow.
party. So I grabbed the leftover balloons I had, and I took it back to campus. And we were having some event on campus, and I just made some columns and something hanging from the ceiling. And one of the administrators came in was like, "Wow, like I had asked her, could I do balloon decor for this upcoming event that was coming up? And she was like, sure, but she didn't really understand the magnitude of what I was saying. She was like, okay, I mean, if you want to do that, fine. But when she walked in, she was like, oh, this is what you're talking about.
Oh, this.
um, yeah. Then I ended up doing my first formal gig, if you say, for the Alphas at Fisk. They host annually their Miss Black and Gold pageant. So that really sparked LaMarvelous on
Mm,
Fisk campus. That event,
mm.
it was just simple columns and a simple arch, and and it really, really brought the life to that pageant that night.
I
And
love it.
after that, admissions started hiring LaMarvelous. We started working with multiple, um, organizations on campus, and it honestly just grew from there.
I love it. I love it. And
Yeah,
so when we talk about like that was an idea that you implemented, right? Like
right.
so you just said this is what I love doing. I'm going to so you pretty much built your parachute on your way down, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay,
Yeah,
this is what
yeah.
I do. Okay, now I'm a business. So
Right, and it's just so crazy. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was just going to
no,
say
you're
it's just
fine.
so
You're fine.
crazy because I think about where the business is today and how all of this just started in my dorm room. I mean, I always had a love for balloons, but I didn't think it would be this, So it's
Yes.
like wow, it's like wow, we're here today. So to fast forward and to give a more up to date scope of the business today. So, like I said, we started, and I know I say we a lot. Well, I actually do have a staff, but we'll talk about that going forward. Yeah. We started in my dorm room formally, and that, I remember on my first business license, I literally used Fisk's address because I didn't have anywhere else to use. So I had to use Fisk's address, 1017th Avenue North, to get the business off the ground and to get my official business license. But then when I graduated, I was doing decor and balloons out of my living room in my apartment. And then when I purchased my first home, I moved everything into the garage and I redesigned my garage into like my kind of like a mini design studio. I put like an air and heating unit in there and everything had it insulated so it would be comfortable for working purposes. And then recently, on my birthday last month on March 17th, we moved into our very first studio and warehouse space, and that's actually where I'm live from. So,
Yes.
yeah, really, really happy about the progression that the business has made over the years. We have a van, our company van, which tons of people always see out. They'll honk the horn. Sometimes I'm like, why y'all honking at me? Come to find out, it's somebody that knows me, and I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing? Just that sort of thing. But so yeah, it's a beautiful feat, and I'm really, really happy to see where LaMarvelous will go from here.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And let's talk about because a lot of startups and new business owners, like within the first 10 years of their business's life cycle, follow me. And so let's
Mm,
talk about that whole thing there, right? Because you're in
right.
year what?
9.
You're in year 9. And
Yes.
so congratulations on that because even that has
Thank
like
you.
several milestones, right? Because you passed the
Yeah.
18-month, the 3-year, and the 5-year, and you're well on your way to
Mm,
the 10th year. And so most businesses don't make it. Like they don't get to make this part of
mm-hmm.
the trip. So when you think about that, what takeaways have you had over the years? Like when you think about the first milestone of 18 months,
Mm-hmm.
how did you know to keep going? Like 18 months, 3 years, 5 years to today.
So there was actually a point in time, Linda, where I was going to stop doing balloons. When I graduated college, I was like, well, I'm graduating. I kind of want to just do, I had just gotten a full time offer at a finance firm here, and that's also my background is in corporate finance. So I was like, well, I'm just going to shelve LaMarvelous, and I didn't think I was going to continue with it. To be honest with
Mm-hmm.
you, I had associated it with my collegiate experience. So by that time when I graduated, I said, well, I'll just go ahead and kind of push forward with my corporate career and just leave the marvelous to the side. But obviously, it didn't happen that way because I was still getting phone calls from people who were asking if I was doing decor. So that's kind of how it kept going. Um, but I guess as far as specific milestones, I will before I even get into that, I will say that consistency plays a very, very big part. There's a podcast that I watch called the Social Proof podcast, which is David Shands and Donnie Wiggins. And there's an episode where they talked about how consistency really is the cheat code for success. How consistent, how constant are you, going with your business? You know, how are you willing to continuously make progress for your business? And you know, as a student, I started the business honestly just to make some side cash. And you know, to a college student, $100, $200, maybe $300 here and there is like $1 million. You know, so it's,
Exactly.
you know, so it was great for that. You know, in college, you know, and you know, it eventually worked out. But I think the real push and consistency came when I graduated from college and
Mm.
wanting to take the business to another level. I had rubbed elbows with other professionals in the industry, and I had saw these other professionals making a life out of this. And I said, well, I have a talent, I have a business that's already established. Why can't I do the same thing? And you know, well, I guess we'll talk a little bit more deeper, but I really do believe in the psyche and the psychology of having to believe in yourself and understanding.
Absolutely.
You know, when you see things, right, you see them, it gives you more clarity to believe that you can do it too. You know, one of the steps that I did take to kind of add some legitimacy to the business was one, you know, there's a Better Business Bureau out there. I was like, you know, I saw that that was a thing, you know, I was like, well, let me just see what it's about and, you know, kind of, um, you know, see how this certification works. Come to find out it actually did. I've gotten some leads from the BBB and I was like, okay, I'm with it, right? And this is like early stages in the business. I think maybe like you know some people found me on their site or whatnot. I was like, all right, I like this, cool. Then I had also made an advancement to become a CBA, which stands for Certified Balloon Artist. And so I'm a black male from Detroit, Michigan. I'm tall, so it's not like you know being a balloon artist is not the top of the meal thing that you think of when you see someone like me. You know what I'm saying?
I
So,
heard you. You're
um,
non-standard. You're non-standard, and that's a
hey,
good
that's
thing.
it. That's it. And you know, receiving a certification like that for me personally was important because I wanted to distinguish myself as someone who's taking their career seriously, but really wants to take artistry seriously, right? I
Mm,
have an old friend of mine who told me that anyone can decorate, but everyone is not an artist. And that's very true. It's important.
mm,
Anyone can decorate a space, but there's certain levels, you know, there's artistry that goes into certain pieces and, you know, pieces of decor. So I really wanted to take that serious. When I went for my certification, it was like I had gotten this respect almost um,
mm.
from clients, but also just from other people because it was like, wow, we even one never heard of what a CBA was, but two, um, to hear about it from someone like you, it just shows that you are willing to take it seriously. There are a ton of people in the industry, in my industry, who don't necessarily think it's necessary to get that certification, and it may not be for them. You know, it's the same thing with a degree. You
Yeah,
don't have to get a degree to you know to be successful,
exactly,
but it's what you do with it, right? And I
exactly.
took that and I made it work for me.
I love
So yeah,
that.
those are just a few milestones that you know kind of help.
I think because we go to get the certifications, it put us heads above the average people, right? Because
Yeah,
there are a lot of people doing what we do, right? And so there has to be a
right,
difference between what they do and what we do. And the difference is the professionalism. Like this is a serious
absolutely.
business. And I love, and it shows in your work. Like I've seen your work. People have seen your
Thank
work.
you.
And it stands
Yeah.
above, like it shows the time and the effort you put into it, right? And
Thank you.
so
Hmm.
when you're talking about taking it serious and you're talking about what sets you apart in this industry, in every industry, there is a need to be set apart. And
Absolutely.
getting that CBA definitely sets you apart because I think people
Yeah.
in their rooms just having ideas, putting balloons together. Nothing wrong because you have to
Mm.
start somewhere, right?
Right.
But to shoot for the goal is to be the expert in your field doing what you
Right.
do.
That's
And
it.
so I think you
Absolutely.
demonstrate that amazingly. I think you're doing an
Thank
amazing
you.
job of that. Absolutely. So let's talk about
Thank
the
you.
difference in one and one. So you have a business that people can come. I'm so over the one and done sales for small businesses. like, because you cannot scale, you can't scale a business like that, right? So let's talk about how you scaled LaMarvelous. How did you change or how did you adapt your business model from the one and done to now being like contractual and all these other things that helped you to scale?
Most certainly. Most certainly. So again, to talk about psychology, right? And as a balloon artist, or one of the things that I struggled with when I started was people taking me seriously. It's like, okay, you do balloons? What's that, right? Like, are you a clown? I was that kid in college. I was in student government. I was, a student trustee. So I was always very taken seriously. But when I explained to certain people that I was like a balloon decorator, they're just like, okay, so about your career at Caterpillar, like, I'm like,
yeah, that's what I said. People, this is what they were used to. Most people are used to this. They're not used to
Right. So I have to sometimes, explain. Even today, I still sometimes have to explain it, and people are, awesome. Especially because balloons are more prevalent today and very, very popular today. People have a better idea of what surrounds that career now. But to kind of come back to psychology, I think it's important that we talk about how to psychologically train clients to see you as a business owner and not a hobbyist. And the two ways that I've done that for me, one, I always, even before I had a team, I always said we, us, and our. Period. I never say I. I never just say me. It's we, us, and our. And what this does is it trains your clients to see you as someone who works with a team, but also someone who legitimately owns a business. And typically corporate entities, which that's about probably 80% of our clientele here at LaMarvelous, they like to work with people who work with teams or have a team. So even if it's just I and you and just you on your bit, like if it's just you running your business, it's okay to still say we, us, and our. You have you, the booking agent, you got you, the person who's
all
making
the
decor, all the hats. It's we all here together. But so I use that verbiage on a regular basis, right? And when you use that verbiage, it really does help clients to see you as someone who has a business, not just running a hobby. Number two, one of the things that I did was I have a formal booking process, right? So one of my friends always talks to me about how she admires how I set boundaries, and I set my boundaries unapologetically. If someone texts me to book an order, I politely just say, hey, there's a process. If you could just go to the website and submit your booking request form, it'll then come to our system, and then we'll chat via email and converse from there. Typically, or I'll say when I started, people would text or DM or message on social media, and it becomes overwhelming trying to manage that over time. And again, most business entities typically have some sort of formal process to book certain services like this. And because it's so niche, we typically like to ask all the questions, or as you and I have talked about, pre-qualify, right?
Absolutely.
Via our form on our website. So those were two things that I did that I really think helped my business a lot, was really setting that boundary, like, hey, this is a business, okay? When you walk to other businesses or you shop at other businesses, you don't treat other businesses, you don't make demands and, say, well, I want to book with you this way. Well, that's not how we do things here. And I think that it's the responsibility of entrepreneurs to stand firm. You don't always have to say yes when someone is throwing money at you. We have that responsibility as well. So standing firm, putting in a formal booking process helped out, and then also just changing my verbiage and lingo to more of a corporate level type of lingo kind of really helped grow and scale the business.
I love that. And I love that you mentioned systems, right? Because anything that you're doing manual, like if you are repetitively doing these things over and over and over again, then it should be systemized. right?
Absolutely.
You should make it into a system, and then you get to
Absolutely.
decide how people do business with you. Like you have to teach people, because a
That's
lot of
right.
people will be in your inbox, right? And so having a calendar to send them to, oh, hey, well, reach out to me here. A lot of people
Yeah.
stop. Like you are access to you directly comes with a price, comes with a cost. If you're a
That's it.
customer, is one thing, but and I don't have to tell you that a lot of people are just curious. And so
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, and so you want to solve their curiosity, but not at the expense of I have to stop what I'm doing to get you that information. Like it's on the site, let the site
Correct.
do what it does. And so I love that
Correct.
systems, and I like that you
And
said that consistency and also
mhm.
implementation.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'll add too, Linda, to talk more about scaling. And you and I have talked about this before. It is important to know your data. Okay,
Yeah,
it is important to know your analytical data. So, for example, and I'll walk you through the flow. Right. So let's say you decide that you want to go on our website and you want to book an order with LaMarvelous Balloons, and you submit the form, and then you become a recurring client and you submit the form again, and we see it, and it's for a different date, different location. Okay, at the end of the year, we can see how many requests we received this year, or we'll just break it down per quarter. Okay, how many booking requests did we receive per quarter? Were they in Nashville? Were they in Antioch? Were they in Brentwood? Were majority of them for corporate events, or were they personal celebratory events? Uh, how many of these were actually fulfilled? How many of them were not? And when you have this data, you can then make logical decisions instead of running your business just off of intuition, but really kind of having that information to really make real and logical decisions. I mean, when we moved into our space, 80% of our clients host their events in Nashville. I live in Antioch, but it didn't make sense to get a studio in Antioch because majority of the events that happen are Metro Nashville, local in Nashville, about maybe 10 to 15 minutes from downtown, from the city center. So it made sense to come here. But you see how I was able to use that
I love that.
data
You are
to make
making
that
my heart
decision.
bust over here.
Ah, so although it would have been convenient for me, right? It's about clients' needs.
That right
So I
there.
wanted to have, that's it, right? So I wanted to have a space that was closer to my client. And it's been super beneficial. Even with our van, when I made the decision for us to go ahead and go ahead and purchase a van, we were renting U-Hauls and Penske trucks and all that because one thing that we pride ourselves on is arriving to the site, the majority of your items already pre-inflated, and we just have to install. So efficiency is key here. Um, but I said, okay, well let's evaluate this. How much are we spending per month on U-Hauls and Penske trucks and other rental trucks? How much time is this taking away? Because I gotta go get the truck, then I have to go take it back. I have to catch an Uber back and forth. And at this time, it was just me. So I said, all right, let's sit here and work out these numbers and figure out. And it just turns out that it made more sense to just go ahead and invest in an actual company van. So when you have actual knowledge and you know of your data like that, you can then go and make real logical decisions and
Absolutely.
investments. And what I'm doing is trying to get LaMarvelous to a point where we're no longer making decisions based off of intuition, but we have real logical information that we can use to push the company forward.
I love that. Okay, so I'm a data analyst. Like that is my
Mm-hmm.
whole degree, life in business, all that. And so this is making my heart sing because
Yeah.
that's it's making me sing because when I asked you, so where do your things come from? And you were like, I'm sure I have that. I'm gonna get that. I'll have that for you next week.
Yeah.
I'll have that for you.
Yep.
That is like let the numbers tell you how to operate your business. A lot of people have a lot of data, a lot of information, but they're not using that information to push their business higher. They don't know still who their niche customers are. They don't know, excuse me, excuse me,
No
pollen.
problem.
They don't know who spent, they don't have any tracking like CRM, customer,
Mm-hmm.
you know, relationship management systems. These are systems that every business owner needs to have because that data is going to tell you how to operate your business effectively. and successfully.
Absolutely.
Based on the numbers.
Absolutely.
Based on the numbers. You're making my heart sing. That right there. That right there is worth good money. That right there is worth good money. But yeah, so
Hey.
I love it. I love it. So putting in systems, being consistent, implementing what you learn, like using that data back. So make sure that you're making wise decisions based on numbers and not on feelings. Like I feel like we sell this much. I feel like we sell that much. That has helped you. So how impactful has putting those systems and those processes in place been for you? So look at how you were before that and then how you are today. How do you think that it has benefited you to use strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. It makes things much easier. And it also makes things much easier for the client. You know, I remember when I started, and this is perfect. Let's talk POS systems. Okay, so let's talk about that, because that's a system that's really important, that not only made my company more attractive, but makes it easier for my accountant, all the things, right? So Cash App, Venmo, Zelle, right? These personal income streams, or not personal income streams, but these personal payment streams. I know that a lot of companies like rely on those, and I think you can if you want to,
Yeah.
but my company became more attractive when we gave more options for payment. So of course, not only just your check and your ACH, but credit and debit card. I'm not telling you to send me a deposit via Cash App or via Zelle or Venmo. I'm giving you the option to pay with a credit or debit card. And I noticed an uptick in sales with my corporate clients, because typically they like to pay with a corporate company card. Or of course you'll have a few who want to pay by check, and they'll process a W-9 and so forth, and that's fine too. It's in the check, that's fine. But I just noticed that I once used like the Cash App type ordeal, and then when I shifted and really invested in the system, we use QuickBooks, and I really started using the system to really take in and hone in on those client payments. It just made things so much easier and smoother, and my clients love that there's an easy way to pay. Like there's not a haggle to pay. You know what I'm saying? When we give you the quote, if you like it, you see it. All right, here's your invoice. Here's your contract. You can e-sign. Get it, got it, locked in, right? So that has really, really made things extremely easy, and I think that that's just a really, really good example of how we efficiently made the company just more attractive, and it just proves that we're easy to work with. And to speak a little bit more about QuickBooks, I love that system. Look, I didn't even know the full capabilities of the system, and my accountant and I, we work in there simultaneously. So while he's managing the books, I'm actually sending out the invoices and kind of getting that thing situated, and we both can see what's out within AR, what that sort of thing. But yeah, if y'all are looking for a really good system where you can, like, your clients can trust and use, I did use PayPal at one point, but I love QuickBooks. You use it for so much. Love it.
Absolutely. And again, systems, right? Because your point of service system, when he says POS, he's saying point of service. This is how you get paid. And so it's important for that to be seamless, because you don't want to make it hard to pay you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Make it easy. Make it easy. The easier you make it, man, I guarantee you, you will look more professional, but it will also help you grow and scale your business. I can guarantee you that.
Wonderful, wonderful. This has been
you make the investment. I was going to say, if you make the investment in yourself, it's going to make people want to make an investment in your company, And,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good stuff. This is great. This has been a great conversation. So talk about one thing that you would like anyone watching this who have either started a business, they're in like the first few months of their idea, or someone who hasn't really jumped in yet and they're on the fence about should I not?
Well, you won't know until you try. You won't know until you try. So if you're thinking about, I'm scared or whatnot. One thing I've realized, and Will Smith actually said this, uh, the best things in this life are really on the other side of fear, right? They really are. I could still be in my house, in my garage, doing balloons out of there, but that probably would have not been a great decision considering the amount of business that we have coming in and being crammed up in a garage and I want to hire workers and that sort of thing. That's not a suitable work environment, right? So I had to take the risk and say, look, all right, let's evaluate. I'm a little nervous to do this, but we got to jump and we got to make it happen, right? So to anyone who's out there who, if you're having doubts, it's okay to try something. And it is also okay to fail. Okay, if you fail, you tried it. You can then move on, right, and learn from your mistakes. But you will never know. You will never know the outcome unless you give it a try.
Absolutely.
And that's it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And before we close, talk about hiring your first employee, like that fear that you alluded to.
So actually, my first employee, he's actually my brother, and it's actually really cool. I actually have really enjoyed working with him. He's not here today. He has a day off, so he's chilling. But I think the fear, there's always a fear and stigma around hiring family of your business. Oh my God, like this is not, why, this is not going to work, or you don't mix family with this, that sort of thing, and that kind of loomed a bit. But it has been great having him on the team. Some people probably follow the LaMarvelous Balloons page and probably see another person in the video or whatnot. For those of us who don't know, that's my brother. That's Noah, and he's the production assistant. So I go by I'm our sales and production manager. Noah is the production assistant, and then I also just brought on 2 additional teammates who are our strike and breakdown crew. So I don't have to go back and take down anything anymore, and I'm happy about that. We have a team for that. But yeah, there was some fear there, But one thing I have to remind myself, right, is that I can't do this by myself forever, right? I have a life too, and it is okay to delegate. It's totally fine to delegate, and I think that having Noah on the team has been extremely phenomenal. It's been great, and literally while I'm in the office and here, getting quotes and other administrative tasks done, Noah is in here producing, getting the columns and arches and everything prepared for the orders to be delivered. So it just makes things so much more efficient, and just again makes the processes easier.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah. So yes, this has been a great conversation. So this is definitely going to go in. This is why I said this is the $1 million business idea series, right? Because this is how you scale. I mean, implementation. This is how you scale. Putting things. I have so many people that come to my sessions or that attend sessions for anyone and gather information. And I love it, Valerie. You talk about fear being the biggest dream killer. They are fearful implementing the things they're paid to learn. And so the implementation piece is it. I love that when we met through, shout out to Black Business Boom. We met through Black Business Boom, absolutely. And so when we met, we talked about strategizing, right? We talked about getting your strategy together, using those tools you had already had, things you already had in place, like how to get those things to be more effective, more efficient for you. And you were an implementer. Like you said, oh, Miss Linda, wait a minute. I got to get this together first. I'm not coming back to you until I've done these things.
And when I came back, I had a full presentation like, all right, let's go. This is what we worked on. I got this here. You know what I'm saying? We're going to move it. I didn't even think I had planned on moving into a space the first time we had talked. And then when I had dropped the bomb on you when we talked, it was like, oh, okay. So yeah, it's consistency. I'll add consistency and implementation really is the cheat code, man. It doesn't get any simpler than that.
Exactly. That's how it works. That is how it works. And so by doing that, now you've 3x, 4x, well on your way to 10xing your first year of, your last year, 8th year, 7th year, 8th year of revenue, right? Like I love that you stuck with it. And now you are a whole business.
Hey,
with the brick and mortar and the whole nine.
yeah, I'm about to say, you see them bricks back there? That's brick. That's brick.
I love it. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But I love that you waited until you got there. Like you didn't
Absolutely.
prematurely jump out too soon. You got there when the numbers, the money, the time, the space, when the customer base, like you built all that first before you moved into a brick and mortar.
Absolutely, absolutely. Again, using the data, the analytics to be sure that it was the right decision.
That's what it's
You know, so
about.
it's one thing to jump and not have knowledge, but it's another thing to jump out there and to have the information and the backing to actually back what you're about to do. And I felt very comfortable with the decision that we were about to make this happen, and happy that we did.
Absolutely. This is wonderful. Well, we wish you much, 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 much success because we're going to be watching. I'm still going to be trolling.
Hey,
Absolutely. I'm still going to be trolling and
hey,
still be
go ahead. I'm with it.
but I love, love, love you. And thank you, thank you, thank you for this. Thank you for being who you are. You are just awesomeness in the flesh. And so
Thank you.
I do appreciate it. My name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the business plug. I just plugged you into LaMarvelous over in Nashville, Tennessee. You all have a great, great rest of your week. I'll see you Friday. I have Dr. Rye. Dr. Rye is an African American chiropractor who has opened her own family business. We're talking about the $1 Million Business Idea series. And I thank you for joining us. Stay tuned for next time. Much love. Bye-bye.